All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's send the link out to the people. What's up, everybody, man? We are in the building. You about to hear my double sound in a second. I still haven't figured this out yet. I'm sure at some point I'm gonna figure it out, but you know, I don't know, man. Every time I get on StreamYard, it does slow, man. I don't know if that's my. I need to change my internet. Let me not tell you who I have in case they want to sponsor us one day. So I can be like, man, they be trying. They be trying. Oh, oh man. That's good, man. It's all good. Hopefully we don't gotta like do how we did before and then go out and come back. Something with this StreamYard, they're like, bro, you better get the pro version. We're not finna let you just be all free like this and having a good time. No way. That's all right. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out, people. Boom, 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 boom. Mm. This is the perfect time to get your stretches in, everybody. All right, here we go. You better hear that nice little fresh feedback. Fresh feedback. There it is. Fresh. Yeah, well, I already said it. Fresh feedback. You said it. I said it. All right, man. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, everybody. Oh, hold on, my eye, guys. All right. Sorry. My perspiration was attacking me.
Yeah.
No, but we're good. All right, man. Got some stuff to talk about today. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna make a way. But let's go ahead and get this intro going. Here we go, y'all. 1, 2, and
Hey. We're live. I can hear me. Can you hear you? Hello. You're muted. There you go.
oh my gosh. Bro,
You're muted.
technology is against me. They're fighting me. They're fighting me. What is up, everybody, man? We gonna get off to the right start at one point. We gonna do it. Welcome. Much lovely love. I'm your boy Don Dees DeLuise, and I'm here with my sister Tierra. What is going on, bro? Come on. Anyway,
it's another Freaky Friday.
It's another Freaky Friday, man. But we working it out. We gonna make this. We gonna make it happen, Captain. Let's do a quick check-in.
Okay.
Let's do a quick check-in. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's Friday. We talked before. I went back to my fitness trainer. Well, not like I left, but like my schedule's
Mhm.
all crazy. But I was finally able to go back to the fitness trainer on Tuesday, and now it's hard for me to get and sit down. I'm
Mm.
like, I'm like sitting down like this, like somebody please help me. I can't
Help
bend my
me,
legs,
Lord.
my knees, like help me, help me. My abs
Yeah.
hurt when I laugh. But other than that, it's a good thing. What is this, week 3? Kids back in school for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so we're down week 3 down, and on a sad note, a very, very, very funny comedian that I follow and love passed away on Wednesday. David A. Arnold
Yeah.
unexpectedly, and that
And
was a
his
blow.
special just came out, right?
Yeah, I think in July it came out.
Ah,
In
it
July,
just
his
came
second
out.
one on
Yeah.
Netflix. So if you
Netflix.
haven't seen it, still go and support him.
Yeah.
Even
You support the family.
posthumously, support him. He has 2 on Netflix called Fat Ballerina, and the other one is This Ain't for the Week. And he was
Yeah.
currently on tour right now for his new tour, Pace Yourself. I was supposed to see him in December for my birthday, but I feel so horrible for his wife Julie and his 2 daughters and all his friends and family, and I just wish them well and praying for them, and really I'm thinking about them and hoping God, not hoping, but I know God will be with them in their time of sadness right now. And so
Yeah.
much love going out to the Arnold family. But yep, that's been my week. That's been my.
Ooh,
Oh, I finished class. So my last
hey.
class day was yesterday. So, but I have one more presentation to do for my class. So hopefully that goes
Uh-huh.
well again. And then graduation is on the 22nd. So I'm excited about that.
Hey, that's
And
what's
then I'll
up.
be done with that. On to another chapter of my professional life. So yeah.
Ooh, that's
What
off the
about you? What
chain.
you got going on?
Okay, so I'm fat, and yeah, the workouts are killing a brother. I had told myself one thing. I told myself one thing because I don't know if you know the moment in your life when you feel you're starting to get less active and more lazy. Like you're
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, nah,
Yeah.
this is where my mind's going. And what I
Right.
had told myself is I said, look, as long as I look at my body and the general idea is still athletic, muscular, I'm good. I said, with the moment it starts looking like, hey, dad bod, hey, come on now, I'm gonna head back to the gym. Well, that happened probably about 2-3 years back, and
Uh-huh.
I've been wanting to head back to the gyms for 2 to 3 years. So
Right.
I finally did it. I was telling people in IG this morning in prayer group. Or actually Facebook prayer group. I was telling them, I was like, look, I saw this Kobe Bryant video where he had made up this training schedule, and he says
Uh-huh.
whenever he makes up his training schedule, he thinks of it as a contract. So even if he's tired, lazy, whatever, he says
Right.
don't break the contract. And I was
Right.
like, oh gosh, let me do that too, so that I go out
Right.
here and get
Right.
my life
Right.
together. And I have been doing it. I've been the thing that's been scary is I don't know if you've seen those uh, the machines. It's like a treadmill, but
Uh-huh.
it's not like where you have settings or systems. It's literally just the belt, and what makes the belt go faster is your weight as you're running on it. So
Oh,
once you
okay.
speed up, you're just going, and
Uh-huh.
you're like, dear Lord, don't let me fall. So uh, what I decided to do on there, I was like, okay, so this thing is supposed to help you like run fast and kind of keep up your
Right.
cardio. And so what I do is I hold on to the bar so that I don't fall, but then I'll
Mm-hmm.
sprint. And I'll do like 15 seconds straight. Just go as hard as you can. Then you take a break, and then you do
Right.
that. I do that a few times. But boy, it is reminding me that I have not ran for some long time. I'm like, bro, the cops, if they
Right.
were trying to catch me, the Holy Spirit just be like, look, just stick with it. Just stick with it. You're gonna get him. You're gonna get him. He's finna slow down any second now. You
That's
gonna
funny.
get him. Hold on. You know. Um, So yeah, but other than that, life is good. Kids in school, me and wife working our schedules out, trying to figure out the flow, and
That's
it's a
good.
good thing, man. Um, but let's get this plug in and let's get to this topic because
All
we
right.
got a tight hour. We busy today, y'all.
Yeah. I gotta
But
pick up the
welcome in.
kids.
We're glad to be here with you. Don't think that we don't want to. Oh, that we don't want to be here.
Right.
but
Uh-oh.
but
What are you
but
doing?
but, but we got to go. Like the shades flew off, we're gonna have to go. So we want to get right to it because we got good stuff.
Right. That we do.
But please subscribe. If you're not part of the channel yet, join the channel because this is where everything is coming out first before it gets uploaded to Anchor and Google and all of them. This is where it's going to be right away. So please
Right.
subscribe. Please, what is the other stuff? Rate, share, all the action stuff.
Like, share, subscribe,
Yeah,
follow,
like, share, subscribe.
comment.
Everything's scrolling down on the bottom. all that bottom scroll stuff.
Right.
Yeah, all of that, man.
Yeah.
But man, let's get into this. So last week we finished off
Right.
with what is her name? Pastor M. Pastor Mildred, I think it was.
Pastor M, yes.
Yeah. I can't remember what the M stands for, but Pastor M. Okwanku.
Right.
And she was telling us the mistakes that women be making in marriages.
Right.
And so we're going to pick up on that. And then we got to finish off with one other area.
I'm trying to find out what the actual name. I've
her name
saved
is, what her page is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I know we got to get better information.
I know. I feel horrible. Not really. Oh, here it is. Her name is Mildred Kingsley Okonowo.
Yes.
Okonkwo from all of our Naja brothers and sisters. But Mildred Kingsley. Just type in Mildred Kingsley and then the rest will pop up. And it was called 7 Mistakes Married Women Make.
And we're on mistake number 5, I believe.
So yeah.
We're on mistake number 5. So here's what I do, because when it's the ladies talking to the ladies, I'm not about to be that one man that's up in there being all in the conversation. So I'm gonna say what it is, and then I'm gonna let you tell us your thoughts. If I feel like I might have something decent to contribute, then I could. Number 5, she was talking about prayer. What mistake could you be doing when it comes to prayer?
Well, she said complaining rather than praying. That is what she said. I'm trying to pull up your stuff here. But yeah, that's what she said. So she said, number 5, complaining rather than praying. She says, you have the right to God to go to God about everything. So she said, no, let me backtrack. She says, you have the right to go to God about your spouse. So instead of complaining about everything that your spouse does, or if you are not married and you are in a relationship, and instead of complaining about everything that your partner is doing, don't complain about it. Go to God about it. And I know that it's always been like you hear that a lot, but it's not. Well, I would say you hear it, but it's not really. It's not really pushed as much as submission. Like a submission is pushed a lot as far as in marriages, and respecting the husband and the spouse, whatever, and your partner. But going to God and praying to God about your husband, not going to God and complaining about your husband. Not saying, oh my gosh, he done did this again. It's like, it's praying for your husband. And in those prayers, you're speaking those things as though they were. So you're saying, God, this is what's going on, but I believe my God is I believe my husband is going to do this. And to me, I know there was a book that I had many years ago called The Power of the Praying Wife. It was
Oh,
about
I think I heard of that book.
author. Her name was Stormy Orta something. Look, we're really bad with names, but her first name was Stormy. Type in "Power of the Praying Wife" by the author. Her first name was Stormy, Stormie, and her
Mhm.
last name is the initial O. And she said that when you go to God, you should not go to God praying about everything that your God needs to do to change your partner, your spouse, but you need to be asking God, what needs to change for me? What do I need to do differently that I may
Mm,
be better for my spouse? So that then, because by your example, by you changing something about yourself, then your spouse will change eventually. So it's not like a God is not a genie in a bottle. You don't pray to him and it happens suddenly. Not to say God can't do suddenly miracles, because he can. God can do anything he
right.
wants to. But when you go to God, you're supposed to go to God praying praying to God about your. It's like, oh my gosh, he just doing this and he don't all he want to do this and he just doing this. It's like, okay, no, pray positive things. God, this is how I'm feeling about my husband. Show me how to talk to him better. Show me how to love him better. Show me how to handle the situation better. This is what's going on. Like, it's like talking to God about what's going on, but don't complain to God. Don't complain about what's going on so much that you forget that God can come in and fix the situation.
Right.
What's your say?
You know what? I agree with that, man. I think probably praying wives, praying partners, if you're, not married but you're dating and you're,
Right.
seriously invested in each other. I feel like that is definitely a benefit. It's like a boost, because you've got somebody on your side that has your
Right.
best interest in mind, and they have a different perspective than you. It's
Right.
like that analogy of, like, if you're in a maze, like a corn maze or something, and then you've got somebody who
Mm-hmm.
has the perspective that where they're looking and they can see where things are going, and
Right.
they're able to help you out in ways that are beneficial and outside of you, trying to think of things on your own. That other perspective, that
Right.
yeah, it's like the combination of having the other perspective, caring about you, and being able to go to God about it. That's a recipe for success. If you ask me, any man that's mad about that, I feel like, you don't really understand the dynamics of how the relationship should be working.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
don't do
yeah,
that, and don't complain. Also, don't complain to other people about your spouse or your partner. Like, don't go to other
please,
people complaining about your partner, because then you
please.
invite them into a situation, and then by inviting them into your situation, once you and your husband has fixed whatever was going on, now whoever you invited into your situation, now all they think about is what he did wrong. So you can never talk good about your husband anymore to them, because they're always going to be thinking about in the back of their mind, oh, well, remember when he did this to you? Or remember when he did
Right.
that to you? So it's like, do not complain about your spouse to someone else. And that goes for both, for husband and wives. And I say also, even if you're in a relationship right now, you're dating someone and you're in a committed relationship, don't always go and complain about your partner to your girlfriends or your home dudes or your home girls, because again, they're going to be thinking about that all the time. Now, if there's an issue and you need like to somebody to be a sounding board and how you can fix something or work something out, and you trust that person's advice, they're not going to like try to steer you away, then that's one thing. But if you're always everything you do is complain about that person, your significant other, to your friends, they're not ever going to say anything nice to you about that person, or they're not going to push you towards that person. They're going to try to say something to you that's going to make you walk away from them. So just keep that in mind. I have to check myself sometimes. I mean, I'm not in a relationship right now, but I have to check myself too sometimes. When I was married,
Mm.
always running to my mom or a sister or a friend to talk about our problems, and I should be going to God first to talk about our problems and not talking to other people, because that's your business. You sign up to be with this person for the rest of your life. Friends may come and go, but you committed to this person. So you
Right.
want to make sure that you keep that trust and that respect in the relationship, and not violate the relationship by talking about your problems to everybody. I would say
Yep.
that.
I would say that too. Hey,
Yeah.
yo, I don't know if it's just looking like this is kind of like looking like it's freezing on me. I don't know if it's happening for you guys as well, but if it is, let us know in the comments so we can hopefully fix that. Uh yeah, but just in case. All right, the next one, taking
Mm-hmm.
control of the leadership position.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah. That's a no-no.
Ah,
And so many of us women who I'm gonna say from two standpoints. So if you're like me and you were raised by a single mom and now you are a single mom, I'm a single mom
mhm,
to my youngest son. I'm not a single mom to my oldest two because their father is active in their lives. But I'm a single mom to my youngest son. So you're doing everything by yourself. I'm doing everything, 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 everything. And then you get into a relationship with someone, you get
mhm,
committed, you get married, and you forget to take off that independent, I could do everything role, that hat.
mhm.
And you forget to yield to your spouse. And by doing so, you try to take on a leadership position in your house, and that's out of order. You're not supposed to be the head of your household when you are married. Let's talk about that. Now you're in a relationship
Yeah.
that you still have to work on it, because if you desire to be married to the person that you're with, you're gonna have to work on that, allowing him to lead. But once you get married, you have to take it off completely. And then the other part of that is women who are in leadership positions at work. And then you go to
Oh,
work and then you are the boss, you are the woman in charge, you are this, you are that, you are the girl, you are Wonder Woman. But as soon as you pull up in that driveway, you need to take a like a little good deep breath and a little prayer and say, God help me to take off this hat that I've been wearing for 9 or 10 or 8 hours today and yield to my spouse, because that is a thin line, is
yeah.
making sure that you don't take what you did at work home to your spouse and try to then lead them as well. You have to let a man be a man. You cannot want him to take care of you, but then want to take care of everything or want to tell him what to do. Now, the only men who like that to me, and I know I might get this, are
Mhm.
lazy men.
Yeah. Hey,
Men,
it's true.
lazy men who don't have no ambition, no goals, no vision. They are not submitted to anybody. They don't have a mentor. They don't have any friends who also are leading or doing anything. They don't mind their woman telling them what to do, telling them to do everything.
Mm,
Okay, now it's not to say that if you are a man who yields to his wife, or for advice for certain things, because you're not going to know everything. Just because you're the head of the household does not mean that you know everything. There are things that you're going to know that your wife isn't going to know. There are things that you're not going to know that your wife is going to know. So in that aspect,
right.
that's not mean that you're lazy because you're asking your wife, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Because she is also a part of the oneness, because two became one. So she is also the person she's supposed to yield to, or the person you're supposed to go to get advice as well. But lazy men who don't want a wife to do everything, she gotta initiate everything, she gotta plan everything, she gotta do everything, she gotta tell you what to do. You can't do anything without her. Like
Hmm.
what? Like what is that? So um if you're not in that situation, if your husband is leading and he is showing you that he's leading and that he wants to lead and that he is capable of leading, then let him lead. Why then get with someone who is not going to lead? And then don't try to take on it. You are the woman, you are not the man. Let a man lead. And that's what she was telling us, that women make mistakes in marriage by trying to take over the leadership role. You have to know when to take off the hat. You have to
Right.
know when to take off the boss hat and put on the wife hat. And that doesn't mean that you are the weaker vessel, but you are. I mean, I don't understand why women don't want to come off as weak. I am weak. I am not as strong as a man. Men were created to be stronger than women. So I mean, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't mean that I am less than, because weakness does not mean I'm less. Just because I'm the weaker person does not mean I'm less than, or I have less value on me as a wife. But it just means that I am weaker. He is stronger. That's how God created us to be. So stop trying to be the leader in the house. Let him be the leader in the house. And you be the help me, because that's what you're supposed to be. The helper. You're not supposed to be the leader. But what say you?
So, okay, so, and I'm gonna be coming to this a couple of times,
Okay.
and I'll explain why later.
Okay.
But where I'm coming from is not trying to reason and be balanced in the thinking about a man leading and men and women being equal and and cooperating, working together. So I always think about that, and because I've heard this my whole life. I grew up in the church, so I've always heard this perspective. And the thing that I always question is, what is it about, or let me say it this way: what do you say to women that are like, nah, I'm not for that? What do you say to ladies like that?
Then I
That
say,
think that
then
way?
get ready. Then get ready for your man not to do anything. I mean, if you don't want to take off the hat and not be the leader in your home, then don't get upset when he doesn't take the initiative to do anything. If you condition him to be dependent on you to do everything, then you cannot get mad when he does not do it. You can't get mad when you say, you'll never take the initiative to do this or to help me with this or to plan our dates or to plan a vacation, or because you haven't given him the space to do so. So he's probably at the point where he's like, okay, I tried to do it and you don't want to, so I'm gonna lead on the logic of, a happy wife, happy life. So I'm just gonna let you do everything, and I'm gonna fall back, and I'm not gonna do anything. So then you can't get upset, and you can't say that he's not being a man, because he was trying to be a man, and you didn't want him to be a man. You wanted to be the woman and the man. You wanted to be the whole man. You wanted to be everything. So you can't get mad at that. And so it's like, whatever you're not willing to fall back on, just know that there's gonna be a price to pay for that, and the price is that he's not gonna initiate anything. He's gonna let you do everything, and you're gonna get burnt out, and then that turns into resentment. Then what that turns to resentment. You talking to your friends about it, or you start having an emotional affair with someone. You get too close to another man who's doing what you want your husband to do, what your husband tried to do, and now you're saying, "Oh, well, he doesn't take initiative," so now you're getting close to somebody else, and that just opens the door for a possible affair. And it opens the door for your husband to not feel wanted and appreciated and respected at home, because he's not going to feel like he is the man of the house if you're trying to be the man of the house. And that may open the door for him to go talk to somebody else who is not a counselor and not a therapist and not a pastor or anybody who's going to help him in the right direction. He's going to be talking to someone who's going to, oh, I'm so sorry that she did that to you. Oh, okay. Well, I would never do that to you. I will always make you feel like the man. Then he's going to get his ego stroked by somebody else. And then that's going to open the door to a whole nother something you don't want to happen. So in order for none of that stuff to happen, just let him lead. Let him lead. Like I told somebody the other day, I was like, look, I don't want to do all that I have to do. I don't want to do it. But I have to do it because that's the situation I'm in right now. But as soon as I get chosen, oh God, I can't thank you. I thank you in advance. As soon as I get chosen, and that ring goes on my finger.
Yes.
You can have it all. Take it. Whatever you want to do.
You can have it all. Yeah.
You know, change my tire. Do what do you want to do? Do it. Whatever you want to do. However you want to take care of me, take care of me. I'm good. I feel good in myself. I still feel like I am valued. I still have value in a relationship. I'm still gonna feel like I am a integral part of the relationship when you go and do all the things that I was doing by myself.
Yeah.
So yes. Woo, I can't wait for that to be. Ooh.
It's coming. It's coming.
Just thinking about it.
It's like a good meal ready to be eaten.
I
Devoured.
know. I'm just ready to be choosing.
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah. No. Okay. I mean that's good to hear because I like when those types of messages are coming from women who are in the in that mindset versus coming from a man, because it would be the same if like a woman was trying to tell me some stuff that I should be doing as a man, and I'm like, bro, this would come much better from a man. I could receive it. So I like to facilitate that space, welcome that dialogue between the ladies, and the only thing I would add on there is just we got to think of it as a partnership, and everybody has roles that they play. Like whenever you look at these, for example, heist movies, right? You got the person who's good with the locks. You got the person who's good with the tech. You got the person who's the surveillance person. You got the person who goes through the wires and scales the buildings and all that. Like everybody plays their role so that things can be accomplished. I wish I had used a better example than robbing people, but you get the point.
Right.
A basketball team, whatever. Any sort of team's got that thing going on.
Right.
Now I forgot what the last mistake was. I don't know if you remember it or not.
It says the last mistake was training our husbands and loving our children. That was a mistake. So it should be loving your husbands and training your children. Because that's what, again, we're giving you the 7 mistakes that women make in a faith-based way. There's also either way, even if you're not a Christian, you shouldn't be training your husband to do anything. You should be loving your husband, and by loving your husband, he wants respect first. So the Bible says train up a child in the way he should go, not train up a spouse.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. And I was like, that is so true. That is so true. Now you will hear, when you will hear from like different kind of videos out there that says, with your husband, if he don't know how to dress yet, or you can train him on how to dress. I wouldn't use train as the right word. I would say you can teach him. You can suggest to him. You can help him. You can offer your help. I mean, if he's lacking in that area of, dressing the way you would like him to dress. But other than that, you shouldn't be training him on how to be a husband, or training him on how to be a man, or training him on how to lead. These are the things that you're supposed to be looking for before you get married. And if you are dating someone right now and they're not showing you any signs that they can lead, or they can be a man, or they would be a great husband, then maybe you need to backtrack and say, maybe I'm not sure, and start asking the right questions, because you don't want to get committed and then feel like you're stuck. Because a lot of people, once you get engaged, it's like, oh, I don't want to back out of this now because I'm almost at the finish line. You want to, because just because you get married, nothing new changes. Like what they were doing before is going to continue. Now your relationship is going to grow. The other person may grow as well, continue to grow as a person, because we're all changing every day. But those habits that they were doing before you got married are going to be there once the wedding day is over. So you need to
person is the person.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you are looking at that. But that was really good that she said that, because a lot of women do. I think it piggybacked off the leadership role mistake, because a lot of women who are trying to have leadership role in the house, they do try to train their husbands like they are children. Oh, yeah, I trained him to do that. Oh, yeah, he didn't know how to do it before, but I had to train him. You're not training
Okay.
anyway, because your husband is not a dog. He's not an
Right.
animal that you are training to do tricks for you. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And why do I have to train? I just don't think we should be training anybody. We are two grown adults. We should be helping each other, teaching each other things that one may not know, encouraging
Mhm.
each other, praying for each other, motivating each other, but not training each other to do anything for each other. And I thought she pointed out really well that you should not give more attention to your children than you give to your spouse. And that's why she
Mm.
said that women will train their husbands and love on their children. You'll have children and forget that you have a spouse. Well, you had to have your spouse to have the child. Y'all
Mm.
made a child together. And even
Mhm.
if even if it's a blended family and y'all both had children outside of the relationship and now y'all together, those children are still the children. The order is still God, spouse, children. It's not
Mm.
God, children, spouse. So you have to remember, because once those children are gone at the house, you have to be with each other for the rest of your lives. If that's what your goal is, to do death till death do you part. And
Right.
death do you part is long, 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 long ways away. So you don't want to be so focused on your children that you forget about your husband.
Facts. Well, these are good. These are good. Let's not make these mistakes, or let's work on
Right.
correcting them if we see them. Men, my suggestion to you would not be to point out these mistakes, as in like, you see right there,
Mm-hmm.
that was you made mistake number 7. You need to correct that. I
Right.
would say do it in conversation,
Right.
do it organically. Make sure that
Right.
you are doing this in a team effort, and make sure that you are working on your stuff before you start talking about somebody else's, your partner's
Right.
mistakes, because
Right.
you making them too.
Right.
I did
She,
want to get to this other. Go ahead. Did you have something
I'm
else to
sorry.
add?
I just want to say one more thing. She said that the thing that you are complaining about or talking about him is a thing that God brought you to him for you all to change together. So
Mm,
whatever you're lacking before you get married and whatever he's lacking before you get married, God brought y'all together for y'all to help each other not lack in those areas. It's just like strength and weaknesses like that. So she
true.
said to make sure you remember that, because you're not supposed to think that the person that you marry is going to be a complete 100% package. Like they're all put together, and there is nothing that you have to worry about. There's no baggage. There's nothing. No, we're all human beings, and we come together with something. And so we have to remember that nobody's going to be perfect. So you're not going to be perfect, and he's not going to be perfect. So remember that. Okay, you
It's
can go
true.
ahead to the next thing.
You're right. You're right. So I wanted to finish off with uh, kind of giving some of the spiritual perspective
Right.
behind these ideas. So we kind of put a lot of the ideas out there, and we gave a little bit of the, what the scripture says, and a little bit of, just perspective. So I want to, just have some conversation about the where people are getting this from, you
Right.
know. So it's called, and sometimes it's thought of as sort of a bad term. I know in my church, the Adventist church, they be abusing this term for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But that's more because they are interpreting the scriptures in a terrible way, not
Right.
because they are not because this is what the Bible actually says. Um,
Right.
so I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I just wanted to bring up some of the stuff so we can kind of talk about it. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to see the whole presentation, which it's really good, it's Preston and Jackie Hill Perry,
Right.
um, and they're talking about our headship and submission issues of competence or calling. That's the title of the video. Our headship and submission issues of competence or calling. And so they're basically just trying to lay out, how they see the Bible saying these things. saying
Right.
this whole dynamic of men and women in the relationship and the roles they play and how that works. One of the things they first talk about are that these concepts as a calling for women and men are in a relationship. These that you have a calling. First of all, just the idea that God has
Right.
called you to a specific role, which in and of itself, to me, that seems quite exciting,
Mm-hmm.
as well as you know, hold some weight to it. You know, if
Right.
this is something that God is like telling you to do, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey man, I have this, I got this thing called relationships, and you the man, you the woman, y'all are gonna be together in relationships, and I want you to do this, and I want you to do this, and if you guys do this, relationship is gonna be like a really awesome part of your experience of life,
Right.
you know. So to even think about that at first is kind of cool. Um, Jackie Hill Perry, have you ever seen any of her stuff before?
Yes, I do. They actually, her and her husband have a podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, it's
But
called.
her presentations are like on point. Like
Mhm.
she is super sharp, you
Right.
know. So I feel like it was real. It's really awesome that that she and her husband are the ones giving this kind of presentation,
Right.
because in terms of like just how they present as public speakers and public presenters, he kind of fumbles around a little bit. He's a lot more relaxed with it,
Mhm.
and she is very like precise. She's a great
Right.
communicator. She is
Right.
so on point with stuff, and to see that she is following this method when
Mhm.
clearly it seems like if I had to pick one of them to trust, I'm gonna go with her.
Right.
Not to say that I diss him, but it's just she just seems so sharp with everything that it's just like I feel she fully sees the vision, and if you need the guidance, she's the one that would be the one who would give it. So seeing that dynamic of her saying, yes, I believe that this is a spiritual thing that God has called me to do, and I'm going to
Mhm.
lay it out for you. That right there is part of what convinces me of the like success of this, you know, of doing your relationship in this way.
Right.
You know, so she said something, and I wanted to get your thought on this. So she encourages women. Uh, well, first she says this might trigger you. These ideas might trigger you. The
Mhm.
ideas of headship and submission could be triggering, but she's warning women. She's like, I want to caution you to not be cynical about this, right?
Right.
I want you to think about womanhood um, from God's perspective, not from people who didn't create a woman.
Okay.
That was for me. I thought that was kind of interesting because she was like, okay, um, you're getting ideas from these women, but they didn't make woman. They're not the creator. They're not the
Right.
ones who
Right.
created this whole situation. So think of it in that sense. She's like, I don't want you to think of submission as some sort of like being a slave, or that you're less of a person, and that the patriarchy is coming down on you. This is actually a different concept altogether. Um, when you first heard about this, like growing up, did you ever think, nah, I don't feel like that's something coming from God? Or were you just able to accept it? Like, yeah, this is a God thing.
As far as like women not being dominant.
Well, yeah, like the whole idea of headship and submission.
Oh, okay. So I did not hear about this until I was an adult.
Okay.
So, like, because growing up in my home, my mom was a single mom, so I never really her back then. I can't say now, but back then, growing up, her whole countenance, I guess that's the right word. Like her
Mm-hmm.
approach to relationships was never, I shouldn't say never, but her approach to relationships were not to be docile or timid or to be submissive. um she was very like, ugh, like, it
Mm-hmm.
was like my way or the highway type things. And then so I never really saw um the submission type. Well, I take that back. I did. My aunt
Mm-hmm.
Jenny, God rest her soul, she was, I would say that she had a submissive part about her, even though she was like, she would
Mm-hmm.
tell, my uncle the business. She still made sure that she took care of the home, she took the kids, and she made sure he always had something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in that
Mm-hmm.
aspect, it was like she knew how to do the gender role on that part,
Yeah.
but her voice was still heard in their marriage. Like, she had a voice in the marriage big time. But I
Yeah.
did see, now that part I did see. I saw her still, no matter what, she was mad at him about, because she did complain about him quite a bit. But
Uh-huh.
whatever she was mad about him about, she still made sure she cooked for him. She still made sure she washed clothes and everything was done and the kids were taken care of. So it was like, I can have what I learned from her was, as a wife, I can be upset with you about something, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
still going to honor you as my husband. I'm still going to make sure that you are taken care of as my husband, because you are taking care of me as the wife. You're taking care of me, because he was working, at the
Yeah.
shipyard, and he worked for many years, and so he was doing his role and she was doing her role, even though they may have had, disagreements about certain things. Um, they were still doing what they were supposed to do for each other, as husband and wife. Does that answer your question? I think that's all I knew. Like, no one ever talked about, this is what a husband does and this is what a wife does, because my mom, she wasn't married to my dad when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma was married, but my grandma, her and my step granddad had two different bedrooms.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I never really saw them in a marriage capacity. She would cook. She would always make sure something was cooked. Like, she kept something in that slow cooker. She always had some in there, but
Mm-hmm.
I never really seen them, connect or communicate with each other in a way that was husband and wife, if that makes sense. So
No, okay. Yeah, yeah. I think one of the things that's maybe helpful, really hopefully for the men and the women too, is
mhm.
this point they made about the difference between leadership and dominance. I
Right,
thought
right,
that was really
right.
uh, a help. It's a really important way for people to think about these things, because I think,
Mhm.
when you talk about dominance, that's like somebody's controlling you, somebody's
Right,
kind of like,
right,
they don't let you have your own mind. You don't have your own independence. You don't have your own what do you call it, agency.
right,
It's like
right.
you just do what I told you and that's it.
Mhm.
But leadership is like, okay, I can lead, but we can still play our roles.
Exactly, exactly.
Which
Mhm.
which I think they did Preston did a good job of kind of saying, like, I understand if you see leadership and you think in your mind dominance, I can understand why you would resist that, because that
Right,
is bad. That is not good.
right, right,
But if you're
right,
thinking of it as, this is my role and your role is helper. I really like I think I like those terms best. Like, if you do
right,
leader and helper,
right,
then then it's kind of a helpful way to think of it, more than the like leader and submission role.
right,
I feel like there's so much negativity that comes with the word submission, you
right,
know, because that you're starting to think about somebody's weaker, somebody's lesser,
right.
somebody's different. But if you think of helper, I feel like that's
Mhm.
uh, a positive way to look at these roles. I don't know,
Right,
what do you think about that?
right. I think so too. But I think also what has help what has really messed up our mindset when it comes to leadership and submission and those words is what we've seen on in movies, what we've seen in
Mm-hmm.
movies, what we've seen on TV, and what we were taught in the church, um unfortunately. And it's been taught wrong that you give your body to your husband no matter what, because your body belongs to him. And even if he does all these things, you still better lay down and give it to him so he won't have to go give it to somebody else.
Wow. Yeah.
That's the wrong kind of teaching. Yes, our bodies belong to each other, but the real the healthy teaching of that is that you as a husband is supposed to make sure that you are taking care of your wife emotionally, so that when
Mm-hmm.
it is time for you to lay down, she's going to lay down willingly and she's going to want to. Or you all come to an agreement that you're going to make sure you leave all of your differences or whatever of opinion outside that bedroom, but when it's time to go to bed, those things
Mm-hmm.
are put to the side and you're focused on you as husband and wife in the bedroom. So I think that's why a lot of women are like, oh, I don't want to be submissive, because
Mm.
that means that you're going to dictate, like a dictatorship, like you're going to do everything. And that's also the difference between the leadership and dominance. Oh, you're going to lead the home. That means you're going to be, dominant over me, and I'm not going to have any say. I'm not going to have a voice. And, then why do I want to do that? Or if they seen, Big Mama or Grandpa or whatever, not really loving each other, and her being submissive to him and him not really caring about her feelings. So a woman will think that, I don't want to be the way Big Mama was to Big Daddy, because he didn't care about her feelings. He just like, woman, you better do this for me no matter what. And you don't have to be like that. You can create your relationship the way that you both come together to create it, but it doesn't mean that you should take on the role of trying to be a leader in your home. But yeah, I think that I think the church needs to come together and teach how men should be the leader in their home and how women should be submissive in their home in a loving and healthy way, so that they can change the narrative and that their children can see how marriage is supposed to go when it comes to gender roles for a husband and a wife. And I do
Wow.
think that
Mm.
media needs to do the same thing. So not just social media, but movies and TV and music,
TV,
all of that
news.
needs to
Yeah.
change as well. We need to change our thinking and start thinking and creating healthy entertainment that shows a husband and a wife loving each other and not always cookie cutter. Like Hallmark cookie cutter. Like there's never no fights. Like let's be real. When
Let's
you
be
get married,
real.
you're gonna
Without
have
being toxic.
you're gonna have arguments. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you have to have a drag out, fight, that you're hitting each
Mm-hmm.
other, that you're being abusive to each other, physically or verbally. If you can both come together and have a disagreement, and you can dissolve the disagreement in a healthy way and still go on to be husband and wife. Or you can agree to disagree and decide at the end of that this is not that big of a deal for us to be going through this, because our
Right.
marriage is more important than this little spat that we have. Because you have to remember, what is the purpose of your marriage? Is the purpose of your marriage for somebody to make you happy, or is the purpose of your marriage is for you to make each other, I wouldn't say make each other happy, but to build each other up?
Contribute to the happiness. Yeah.
Yeah, build each other up and push each other to be each other's best selves,
Right.
so yeah.
Yeah, I think because so as we're kind of wrapping this up, I encourage you to go and look at the whole presentation, because
Right.
they laid out a bunch of stuff, and it's really good. It was helpful for me in learning how to process that
Right.
dynamic, because I've always been kind of hesitant to even push that in my marriage because of thinking about I probably, even me, had the dominance kind of thinking more
Right.
in my mind as opposed to thinking of the roles. But I guess if
Right.
I could like sort of sum up this idea,
Mhm.
At least from a healthy Christian perspective, it seems like it's
Right.
this way. We do this because it comes from God. This is something God called us to do. God called the husband to be a leader of the home. God called the wife to be a helper in the home. And helper is something that you need to think of, and in terms of how the Bible speaks of helpers. So the Bible speaks about God. When God talks about himself, God says, I am your helper. And
Mhm.
so being a helper is an extremely uh, essential, pivotal role in making the relationship work. It
Right.
cannot work if uh, if the person who is called to be the helper does not do it. You
Right.
know, being helped, and as a helper, you have influence. You have your full. You are completely yourself. You're not anything less than who God has created you to be. Like you
Right.
don't have to hold back or like dumb down who you are. You can fully be your entire self in that role,
Right.
and you will, and that will make your marriage, your relationship, your family experience a success. If both people are following God,
Mhm.
then those things don't have to be, this sort of like conflict clash thing where the man is trying to like dominate the woman and the woman is like fighting for her, rights to exist as she wants to be.
Right.
That's the
Right.
healthy way of thinking about it. The
Right.
last thing that I wanted to say about this, and then I'll give it to you to finish up, is
Okay.
I do want people to understand two things
Mhm.
about this idea. There are people who are not earnest in seeking God's way of thinking, and so
Right.
they take this idea and they abuse it. That's
Yes.
that is where the problem is coming in, because they are
Right.
talking about a man controlling a woman, and just like you were
Yes.
saying before, pushing that idea of
Right.
whatever the man wants, you gotta do it.
Right.
If I so there are so that's the first thing. Some
Mhm.
people do understand this they have interpreted in a toxic way, and they
Mhm.
are abusing it. So those people, do not follow them, because they are wrong. That's not
Right.
what this is actually about.
Mhm.
Second thing, I do want everybody to understand that when anything comes from the Bible, you have to understand that just like all other areas of life, everybody is they are a product of their context. So
Right.
when these things were written in scripture, patriarchy was extremely dominant,
Mhm.
and that influence is going to come into the way this these this concept is presented. So if it feels like, yeah, this is a little bit there's a little bit of dominance for the man, and the woman is feeling like in a lesser role, you have to also understand that while there are positive ways to work on this, the just the natural thinking of the people, not with any malice or like trying to be vindictive or evil, that was
Mhm.
their natural way of thinking as well. So take those into context as you are figuring out in your relationship the way you want to live this out, how you and your uh, partner want to build your relationship together. The way that you embody
Exactly.
these roles of leader and helper, it doesn't have to look the same as generations before. There are other ways that you can do that, be supportive, and work together. Because in the end, it is about working together to have a successful relationship. So that's the last thing I
Exactly.
wanted to say about it. I'll let you finish us off for today.
So what I was thinking was, say you are a woman who, it is hard for you to take off that leadership hat. It is hard for you um to not train your husband. You know how you can flip that? Okay, first one, okay, you can ask God to help you. God help
Mhm.
me, and get to the root of this problem as to why I can't do, why I'm having a hard time with these things, you know, so I can be better for my marriage and better for myself. The other flip side is talk to your husband about that and y'all can make it kinky. Let's be real.
Mm.
BDSM is out here, okay? Y'all can flip that role in the bedroom. You want to be the leader? Be the leader in the bedroom. Say, hey, baby, I'm having a hard time not being a leader when I come home. So can I be a leader in the bedroom? You know, get that whip in them handcuffs and the little feather, and hey, have a good
That
time.
feather, boy, that feather.
Have a good time in the bedroom with your hubby and flip those roles in the bedroom. You know, you can't do it out, you know, in public, but when you in the bedroom, I'm gonna be the leader and you gonna be the weaker one. You know, it's like have fun with your marriage. You know, figure out how you can have fun with it and not be something that feels like it's weighing you down. You know, like, oh, I can't
Mm.
be who I want to be, but you can figure it out. So I'm just saying that in a fun, you know, lighthearted way. But I mean, seriously, hey, you know, I mean, if you're having trouble with those kinds of, if you're having trouble with that, you can always take care of that as role reversal in the bedroom. Why not have fun
Mm.
with it, you know? And do it that way. But
Let
seriously,
us know how that works.
yeah.
Write us at
Hey.
the
Yeah,
way
right.
love goes pod at gmail.com. I'd love to
Right.
know how that
Right.
turns out for you.
Be the boss
Yeah.
in the bedroom. Be the boss in the bedroom. But yeah, but at the end of the day, whatever you're struggling with in your marriage as a wife, you know, go to God with it. Ask him to help you so that you can be, you know, be all that you can be as a wife to your husband. And then hopefully in turn you will get a return on your investment, and your
Mm.
husband will be the best he can be as a husband to you as his wife. And the same for those who are not married. Be the best you can be for your significant other. Hopefully you're in a committed monogamous relationship, and there's respect there and love there, and y'all are doing your best to be, you know, to honor each other as boos and bays, I would say.
Yes,
But
indeed.
yeah, but that's all I have on that.
All right, y'all.
That was some good stuff.
That was some good stuff. 2 weeks to digest that. You know, we'll get
Right,
it out for you on audio so you can run it back and process and
right,
let us know what you think and all that good stuff, man. But
right. I have a quote today. Uh, I think I think it's kind of like it, but it says
mhm.
you don't have to win every fight, and everything doesn't have to be a fight.
Mm,
That
mm,
was from Sean Harvey Roberson. She is the wife of Eric Roberson. And this book right here called Lessons 100 Thoughts on Life and Love. It's a
mm.
really good book to pick up. It's a poetry and lessons and stuff that he learned, but that's really good. Everything doesn't have to be a fight. Like I was just saying, the role reversal don't have to be a fight. You can take it to the bedroom and have some good old fun.
I really want y'all to do that for sure. Okay.
I want people to have fun. I want people to have successful relationships.
True,
And
true.
sometimes those things that weigh us down get lifted up when we have fun in the bed.
Hey, that could go so many ways. Yeah,
So yeah,
things get lifted up in the bedroom.
they get
Mercy.
lifted up.
Mm. Ooh, okay. On that
So
note,
on that note,
peace and blessings, y'all. We will see you next time.
don't forget
It's
to
been a
like, share, subscribe, follow,
right.
comment. The Way Love Goes podcast. You can hear us all on every platform. Tell your
Yes.
friends, tell your mother, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your enemies, and a coworker. How about
Yeah.
that?
And a neighbor.
And a neighbor,
And a
yes.
neighbor. All right. Blessings, peace. That's the way love goes, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. All right, we're trying to leave, guys. See you.
You gotta put the outro.
I know, man. I got to get the outro on there. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. Hi guys. This is editing. We're just gonna get up and walk away.
Like
Yeah, we're